r/AskReddit, what is the most useless fact you know? Lego people live in houses made of their own skin. Only humans and dolphin have S4 pleasure. Even the neutrino radiation from a supernova is lethal at a distance of a few AU, meaning you survived everything else. Horses can't throw up. If they do, they're close to death. Useless information for me. You are just a bunch of uniquely arranged atoms, looking at another bunch of uniquely arranged atoms. Color blindness affects on average 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women. The reason for this is because genes for the red and green color receptors are located on the X chromosome. Men have only one X chromosome but women have two. You can get arrested for whale fishing in Nebraska. Australia lost to water emus. There are no truly useless facts, only facts with a narrower and narrower range of use. There are more hishal giraffes than there are heterosil ones. When hippos their tails spin, which brings a whole new meaning to it the fan. In the US, the normal dotted lines that mark driving lanes are 40 feet, 12 m, apart, from the start of one to the start of the next. The word horny came from a Greek god named Faunus who had a horn. He was the Greek god of fertility. Edit, my bad guys, I am WRONG. Please ignore and carry on with your regularly scheduled programming. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. A man won the Ig Nobel Prize for documenting 72 minutes of sexual necrophilia in ducks. Sometimes sloths mistake their own arms for tree branches and fall. A duck's pee is in the shape of a corkscrew, however a duck V is in the shape of a corkscrew but turns other direction, making it more difficult for male ducks to rape females. The V even had dead ends to further fool the male. A wombat's poo is cube-shaped. A lethal dose is a lifetime supply. A clam's pee is longer than its body. Yellow pencils were painted yellow to indicate the graphite lead was the highest quality from China. An ostrich's eye is bigger than his brain. Snapple bottle caps have useless facts on them. Obsidian is so sharp that it can cut your DNA. Almost all mammals larger than a rat take the same amount of time to empty their bladder, with the time averaging 21 seconds. Pistol shrimp capture its prey by snapping its claw, which creates a tiny bubble filled with nothing, which of course rapidly cavitates in a process that briefly creates temperatures as hot as the surface of the sun. All the swans in England belong to the Queen. Yoda and Miss Piggy were both voiced by the same person. Keeping your rubber bands in the fridge will make them last longer. Once useful but not really useful now, cab mounts on early 1970s Ford F-100s were paid to rusting through, causing the cab to rest on the steering column. The barnacle is an animal with the biggest P-length to size ratio. Hippopotamonstrous esquipedaliophobia is the fear of long words, and I can spell it lol. A second is called a second because it is the second division, pars minuta secunda, of the hour by 60, the first division being a minute, pars minuta prima. Whales have 2-meter-long pairs. Eugene J. Weigel created the 8-5 step, the 8th of March steps every 5 yards, for marching bands as the director of the Ohio State University Marching Band. If you dream in black and white, it means the dream is being stored in your longer-term memory. You don't wash your hands, you just watch your hands washing themselves and stare like a psycho. An Argentine lake duck has a pea as long as its body. Editor P's the grammar Nazis. The fruit fly Drosophila bifurca is only a few millimeters in size but produces almost 6 centimeters long sperm. If we escalated it to human size, a 6-foot-tall man would have a sperm 120 feet long. The dot over the I and J is called itl. The airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow, European, is 11 ms or 24 miles per hour. Brazil requires all customs documentation to be filled out in blue ink. Tapirs have a prehensile P similar to an arm, and it's longer than they are. It directly puts S in the cervix. In a deck of cards, the King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. Liechtenstein is the world's largest producer of false teeth. Beavers potty train their young, and sometimes after they move out of their parents' basement the parents will come downstream and help the youngster build his teeth so that he can attract a mate. And they will even come years later sometimes. That little piece of plastic at the end of shoelaces is called an aglet. The line between the two numbers in a fraction is called the vinculum. That the plastic tips on the end of shoelaces are called aglets. Thanks Phineas and Ferb. I have no idea what I would have done with my life if I did not know that. Earthworms are not native to North America. I mixed fruit tea and chocolate flavored milk once and it tasted like absolutely nothing. It takes 1,120 licks, and a boring, long car trip, to completely remove the candy coating from around the Tootsie Pop, fully exposing the Tootsie Roll center. Seahorses are some of the most effective ocean predators, as 95% of their hunts are successful. The average human has less than 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, etc., but more than 1 head. There are 3 golf balls on the moon. We all start out as in a hole with a mouth. They are the first things to form in the womb. In my case they were also the last. Lego is the #1 car manufacturer in the world. An acronym is when you say the word it represents, like NASA or NATO. It creates a new word. An initialism is a subset of acronym, where each letter needs to be pounced CEO or HDMI. Ohio is the only US state that doesn't share any letters with the word mackerel. Tasmanian devils got their name due to their howling. Early European settlers heard them howl during the night and thought it was the devil coming for them. There are more planes in the world's oceans than there are submarines in the sky. Dumpster is a brand name, like Kleenex. The Stegosaurus is as ancient to the Triceratops as the Triceratops is to us. Dreamt is the only word in the English language that ends with MT. BMWs have turn signals. A pixel can last up to 30 minutes. The dot over the letter I is called ittle. Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. Lego has a underground vault which contains every set ever made. Edit. Okay, that's more than 1, but I don't know if I'll get another chance to share my useless knowledge. Elephants can move their skin to crush mosquitoes between their rolls of skin. A few hands selected for you. Frogs can't swallow due to their tongue. They do it with their IB. Isaac Newton invented the cat door. The eggs of ostriches are bigger than their brains. The Hawaiian alphabet has 13 letters. Pearls dissolve if you throw them in vinegar. A 70-kilogram person has 0.2 milligrams gold in it. Stewardesses is the longest word you can type with only the left hand. The Coca in Coca-Cola is from the times where Coke still included cocaine. Every second 100 lightnings strike the earth. The moon is always showing the same side of it. Squids have rectangled eyes. Monopoly is the worldwide most sold game. And stretch when they wake up. Owls can't move their eyes. Elvis is actually called Elvis Aaron Presley. Cats have 32 muscles in each ear. Edit. Grammar. The upvote bonds color. 255, 69, 00. RGB is called orange red. A tomato is a vegetable. It is also a fruit. But by that logic, so are cucumbers and peppers. And broccoli is the stem and leaves flowers of the plant. And potatoes and carrots are roots. Nobody ever says, a carrot isn't a vegetable, it's actually a root. Vegetable is a culinary term. It has nothing to do with what part of the plant you are talking about. It simply refers to edible plant parts, and usually specifies that they are used in savory dishes. This matters because it doesn't. Lamps in video games use real electricity.